we're literally finding so many like poor quality and poor condition items in the thrift stores, and I'm literally mad about it. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're revenant. Please consider subscribing if you like everything and anything about secondhand fashion, chaotic styling, and yapping. And for today's video, we're going to talk about secondhand shops and, in general, how bad the quality has gotten in charity shops. Because, guys, I'm fuming. I'm really, really fuming. And I just needed to get this out of my chest because the past few years, like finding good gems secondhand, like in charity shops, has gotten so hard. And I just feel like that in general, as someone who used to secondhand shop a lot, I feel like that, you know, like witnessing in real time the downfall of the quality that you can find in secondhand shops has clearly made me also think more critically about how I consume, and about also how overconsumption is actually so bad that it has gotten out of control. I've been secondhand shopping for now over a decade, and as I started like secondhand shopping, at first I was not really paying much attention to what I was buying because I was really going with the mindset of, oh, it's secondhand, so if I just like something, I'm just gonna buy it. And over the years, I started to be a bit more mindful and critical because I was just accumulating a lot of clothes that I was not wearing, and I was just buying because they looked cool or they were on trend, and then it was just sitting in my closet collecting dust. So I started being a bit more, mindful and critical of the way I consume. And all my thrift trips always took a bit of time because since it's not organized the same way that you would find in a regular store, it was really much an experience for me where I knew that I would go there and I'll have to do the digging to really find gems. And as the year went by, I my criteria became a bit more like concise and clearer of what I was looking for. And like I would pay attention to some details that, you know, I was not before. Like, for example, the quality of the garment. I put quality over quantity. It's been now like 5 years that I've been doing that, where I need to make sure of the materials that this clothing is made of. And I tend to need to touch the material to try it on because I'm very picky with how I like things to fall on me. That's also the reason why I prefer in-person secondhand shopping rather than online secondhand shopping, because at least when I'm in person, I know what I am buying because I touched it, I tried it on, I made sure of the materials and also of the brand tag. I've studied the brand tag for a couple of years, so now I'm kind of aware of what are the vintage brands, what are the good brands, what is great quality because it's something that I bought a few years ago and it was the same brand. Like, I'm quite aware of that now, and that's the reason why I like to be doing secondhand shopping in person. But in general, like secondhand shopping for me, when I started, it was really this kind of world where I was like, okay, so you're going to get like clothes that are from years ago, but if they still out there, it means that they still good quality, and you're going to find like great gems and all that. It's just going to take a bit more time because it's not, you know a regular store, unless you go to a specialized secondhand shops where maybe things are organized in sizes, or but usually it's colors and sometimes it's sizes and stuff like that. But overall, you always have to kind of do the digging, and that's what I think is quite amazing with secondhand shopping, is that you never really know what you're gonna come out with, because you're just entering a shop, and you're doing the scouting and the scavenging, and like whatever you find, and that you like, you might come out with that. So that's, a whole adventure for me that I've always considered secondhand shopping. And with the years and my critical thinking and me being a bit more mindful in the way I decide to consume secondhand, like I said, I became a bit more concise and clearer with what I need and what I want in my shopping. But in general, when I started, the whole scene was quite, exhilarating and great and amazing, until ultra fast fashion came about. And I feel like that since then, everything went downhill to the point that, like fast fashion quality clothes was already really bad, Um, but like ultra fast fashion, God, like a whole other story. Ever since fashion got hit with globalization, the quality of clothes has dropped massively, because the whole focus was on producing massively rather than like producing in great quality. It was to be able to cut corners and to pay less and make more and make as much profit as possible, rather than making sure that you're paying people fairly, using more sustainable material in order to like sell. You might sell less, but at least you're selling something that people invest in and that they're going to wear for a lifetime. And ever since globalization came about, we have been plagued with like the most horrendous quality ever. And when fast fashion came around, like the quality drop was insane. It was just, like very like flimsy quality. Synthetic fibers became huge as well, because it's cheaper to make synthetic fibers than actually using proper fibers that we might have that is more sustainable. So that's what majority of your clothes is made out of: polyester, because literally polyester is plastic, So it's cheaper to make your clothes out of plastic than it is to make sure that, we're using like cotton or something that is more lasting, because this system worked really well, and fast fashion got really big. And then social media came about, and the craze of being able to have your clothes like delivered to you easily and to have everything done digitally became quite huge. Then ultra fast fashion came about, and ultra fast fashion is literally worse than fast fashion. It's something that for me is always kind of crazy to think that ultra fast fashion brands manage to make fast fashion brands look like little angels compared to ultra fast fashion, especially when you see what they do. Because I'm very sorry, what do you mean you can buy a dress for 30p? Like, what the fuck is this? You can't buy a dress for 30p. 30p, like, if you're buying a dress for 30p, how much is the garment worker paid? That's just insane to me. Like, that's literally so crazy to me that people don't really question why it's, like so cheap. And the thing is, with like the ultra fast fashion clothing, the quality is just way too bad. It's super, super bad. And there's a reason why. It's because, like, if you want to be able to sell things at such a lowest price, not only you have to overly exploit your workers to literally pay them pennies, but you need to find the cheapest material that you can find to make clothes. People are not dumb. Even though people were buying from those ultra fast fashion, they knew that the quality was not great. And what happened is that a lot of those people who bought from those ultra fast fashion brand were buying mostly things that they knew they would wear for just one occasion, and then they will call it a day. They will just dispose of it. The thing is, like, all the hauls that we've also seen on, like, especially TikTok, people buying £500 worth of Shein, which is insane. And I can tell you something, those are not working class people buying £500 worth of clothing, because working class people don't have the means to spend this much on garment alone, you know? And of course, like, when you're buying for £500 of clothes from, like, a very questionable quality brand, like, you're not gonna wear everything. And that's the reason why a lot of those clothes then end up in the charity shops. If they're not ending up in landfills, because, like, a lot of them might end up in landfills because the quality is actually so bad that they probably already ripped after one or two or three wears. So it's either like being sent to landfills or incinerated or sold in charity shops. But, like, usually when you do find them in charity shops, what's actually quite insane is the fact that most of those clothes still have the tag on. It's just insane how so many of them still have the tag on. I remember being in Manchester and checking the charity shops, and because I do pay a lot of attention to the tags and the quality, um, I was just appalled by the amount of ultra fast fashion clothes that I could find, and majority of them still having the tag on. It was just insane. I kind of stopped counting because it was just madness. But the thing is, you can so easily feel it because you just need to touch. You, like, when you're so used to touching clothes because you know what you like and you know, like, what is a, like, a clothing that is actually great quality, you know what to look for. So you kind of, now I'm really used to touching clothes and to know, like, okay, it's great, it's not great. And ultra fast fashion clothes, like, the moment you touch them, the moment it's finished, the moment you just, it just, no, like, it's bad quality. You can actually, it's flimsy, it's actually so insane. And, like, I was just so shocked at the fact that so many of those ultra fast fashion brands were polluting the charity shop scene, not only in the UK, but I then found out that also other places in the world. And it got me thinking about how difficult it is now to really find good gems in the charity shops. I was talking to one owner of a charity shop when I was in Manchester, and we were discussing, like, the amount of ultra fast fashion brand and also fast fashion brand. There was a lot of also fast fashion brand in the charity shop, and they were telling me about how insane it was becoming, about how basically now pretty much all the packages of clothes that they receive all include, those ultra fast fashion brand. Like majority of them have those, and she was telling me about how the reason why they had to sell them is because, like, first of all, majority of them still have the tag on, and also because they need to reply to a demand, because more young people are getting there, and like if they don't have like the latest trends and the very recognizable high street brands, well, they're not going to make much sale, unfortunately. So since they don't really have much choice anyways, because when they do receive the clothes, a lot of them are like ultra fast fashion, and because also now they have to compete, they are kind of in a way forced to have those ultra fast fashion in their shops, those ultra fast fashion and fast fashion in their shops. And like she was telling me about how sad the whole situation was, because she is also someone who do put a lot of emphasis on quality over quantity. And she was telling me about how every time she would, check those bags and start to put the clothes like on the racks, like she was touching the clothes and she was like, the clothes is actually such bad quality, that it's not gonna last you more than 5 washes. So for her, she was just telling me about how it was making no sense at all to have those clothes where they're not going to last you long, because the whole goal of like secondhand fashion is for you to be reusing and re-wearing and re-loving clothes that you're going to, wear for the longest time. But the whole thing has shifted into more like seeing secondhand fashion also as a very disposable endeavors and disposable thing, that because it's really cheap, because you get to find trendy things, because you can find also recognizable brands, you don't really need to pay much attention on the quality. And it was literally paining her so much, because she worked in a charity shop for like 20 years, and she told me about how quality had worsened so badly over the years, and how it's becoming so hard to really find good gems. And when you do, um like the thing is, she was like, the thing is, when you do find really good quality secondhand clothing, then it comes into how do you price them, because like you can't price a pretty little thing top the same you price a vintage pimki top, because like that the vintage pimki top is like better quality than the pretty little thing top. Then she was saying about how now all those really good secondhand clothing quite overpriced because of the amount of really really bad quality clothing that you can find in the charity shop. And it got me thinking about how, as someone who pays a lot of attention to really like the material and the tags and all that, the fact that like I now have to spend, I feel like double, to really double check, to really touch, because even though I bump into something that I might like, if I see that it's an ultra fast fashion brand, it's not coming home with me. Because honey, if it's not lasting me at least like 200 washes, I'm not taking it. I just know the quality is going to be really bad, and you can really feel it. And you can really, it just like, I'm now so used to that it just the moment I touch something and I know that it's, and I can feel that it's very flimsy and it's very PLT quality or boohoo quality, I just don't. I just don't take it with me. Like, I just know that it's not worth me spending money on it when I know that it's not going to last me a really, really long time. And it kind of just forced me to be like, we're more wary about like the things that I buy, because it's becoming harder and harder to really find really nice things. And I'm actually so grateful in a way, because now, since I just know that the quality of clothes in charity shops have gotten so bad, like it kind of, made me want to go less in those charity shops, because I just know that I'm going to come out like very disappointed and irritated and annoyed at the fact that so many of those clothes like such bad quality, and like, for example, the reason also why I don't buy much clothes online, it's because, like, how many times have people been in a way scammed, online, where they're like being told in the description of an item that it's vintage and stuff like that. And when they receive it, they kind of realize that it's a Shein top with like cut off tag, because a lot of people now cut off the tag and can easily be like, oh yeah, vintage, because description, like, nowadays, that don't really mean much because people can easily lie. And like, also that the amount of like clothes that you can find in charity shops with like cut off tags, I feel like that when people need to cut off the tags, it's very telling. They know that basically the clothes is actually, a really bad ultra fast fashion brand. So to like have a kind of peaceful conscience, they'd rather just cut the tag off and sell it as if it was something that was, maybe a brand that we don't really know, when the moment you touch it, you just know. I just think that at this rate, like, we're not heading towards a great ending. Like, we really not heading into something great, because when you see like how many of those fast fashion brands and ultra fast fashion brands are just plaguing those charity shops, it's insane. It's really, really so insane, and pisses me off so much when I see like those ultra fast fashion brand clothes with still the tag on, and you're just like, so it's probably one of those TikTok girlies who bought for like 1,000 worth of Shein so she could make a nice haul and have people drooling over it, and like half of the clothes uh, are not even worn, especially when you know that in general we only wear about 40% of our clothes, that the clothes that we already have. Like 40% is literally nothing, when especially you also know that about 80 to 120 billion item of clothing are made each year just for 8 billion people, and again, like mentioned in one of my previous videos, the whole thing about, you know the the production system of this ultra fast fashion is just insane. The amount of clothes that they make and they sell is just madness, and then they try to be like, oh yes, we're sustainable because we have our factories here in the UK, and basically the way you're paying your workers is literally illegal because that's below the minimum wage. It's just insane, and it's just so sad when I see so many of them now polluting the secondhand market. Like, in a way, I'm just like, I'd rather have those clothes being um, worn and, you know, bought again. But in another way, sometimes just like, I feel like that, there's so many of them I feel like that the people who also goes charity shopping are aware that, those ultra fast fashion and fast fashion brands are not really things to veer towards, so they don't really buy it. So I feel like that at the end of the day, they can't keep those clothes on the racks forever. Sometimes you have whole racks of just ultra fast fashion things. It's just, guys, and especially that those clothes are not also like, when they're not sold in charity shops, which happens very often, they then send into, landfills and incinerated. So creating more waste for especially people in some part of the world who l- have nothing to do with it. Like, they did not ask us in the north, like northern hemisphere, to create such hazardous um situation for them that it's threatening their biodiversity, their health, and just everything. Because let's not forget that the quality of this clothing so bad, because it's like the cheapest material that they can find, that in landfills, like the like all the bad chemicals kind of start flying away, and it is just really bad for the people living around those area. It's also very bad for the people making those clothes, because they don't have great working conditions. They exposed to really harsh chemicals. It's like there's so many things to think about sometimes, that I'm just like, we really need to be more mindful. I don't want to have my charity shops filled with just those crappy clothes. Like, I know we live in a time where crappy clothes have been something that was normalized, and we are seeing, and we are meant to see um like cheap clothes as the only alternative. But please, can we stop having like those ultra fast fashion brands and fast fashion brands polluting the charity shops? Stop buying 100 worth of clothes that you're not going to wear just so you can make a like aesthetically pleasing TikTok, and then you're just going to dispose of the clothes. Like, if you don't need the clothes, just don't buy it. It's that simple. It's just that like, it annoys me so badly to see all these crappy clothes filling up the charity shops. Like, there's no need for that. I beg. So that's it for the video. Like, please let me know, how is the situation in your charity shops? Do you also have this issue of having, lot of ultra fast fashion and fast fashion brand now? Is it getting harder also for you to really find nice gems? Because when I'm telling you it's getting harder, my days, it's hard. It's hard as f. So please let me know if you like this video, like it, share it around. Maybe we also have other people that do feel the same way, and want to also vent in a comment about how, the quality have gotten so bad in charity shops, because that's the case. And I'm never going to shut up about it until it's solved, because I'm sorry, it's just gotten so bad. And in the meantime, I'll see you in my next video. Love always.